What is up, guys? Welcome back to the video and welcome to the Alex Bowder Podcast. And today's video, we are going to be doing the ESPN NBA Playoff Challenge. So today, as I'm recording this video, the NBA playoffs are starting. They're actually starting in about 2 hours as I am recording this video. So I need to try and record this video and upload it as fast as possible. So here we are, ESPN NBA Playoff Challenge. Last year, believe it or not, I went for a perfect bracket last season in the NBA playoffs. Like that, I was so shocked. I got like over $6,000 last year in the perfect bracket. The year before that, I got every single pick right, besides like one or two in the conference semifinals. But hopefully this year, I can continue my luck from last year and go for another perfect bracket. So I wanted to wait until all the playing games finished before doing this, because I could have done this like 2-3 days ago, but not all the playing games would be done. So I waited till today till all the playing games were done, so I can actually like see who the number 1 seeds and the number 2 seeds are playing. So here we are, starting off in the Western Conference. We have the number 1 seed Thunder taking on the number 8 seeded Pelicans here in this series. Now, I think this series is going to be really, really good. You know, on the Thunder, you have probably one of the scariest teams in the Western Conference. And the crazy thing is the Thunder are probably one of the youngest teams in the playoffs this year. You have Chet Holmgren, who is super young. Josh Giddey, super young. Shea, he's been in the league the longest in the Thunder's team. Well, one of the longest, but he's still a relatively young stud. I mean, younger than like a LeBron James or something like that. Like the Thunder, they're a very young, but they're also one of the scariest teams. I mean, the fact that you're the number 1 seed in the Western Conference means that you're a relatively decent team. While the Pelicans, they do have a little bit more age on them. You do have McCollum, who's a little bit old. Brandon Ingram has some age on them. You have Zion, who is pretty young, but he's also been kind of injured throughout the years. The Thunder, they've been playing very phenomenal. You have Chet Holmgren, he's having himself a season. Josh Giddey, he's doing relatively good. And then you have Shea, who's currently in the MVP conversation. For the Pelicans, you have Ingram, McCollum. Both of those guys are doing relatively good on the offensive side of the ball. And then on the defensive side, you do have Brandon Ingram doing relatively good. And then you have Zion Williamson, who's been putting up 20, 30 points the past couple of games, especially when the Pelicans needed the most in the play-in. I think this series is probably going to go to a 5, maybe 6 game series, but I'm definitely going to favor this series towards the Oklahoma City Thunder. The main reason is they're a very young team, very good team. Yeah, Thunder, they don't really got experience in the playoff. Like a lot of the players on Thunder don't have experience, but I just think in the first round doesn't necessarily come to experience. I think necessarily just comes to skill, especially when it comes to the first round. Next up, we do have the number 4 seeded Clippers take on the number 5 seeded Mavericks. Now, you do have this is definitely probably the best round in the first round for the Western Conference. You do have the Clippers, who obviously have Russell Westbrook coming out from his injury that he had. And then you have Kawhi Leonard and you have Paul George, who both of those been putting up 20 points per game pretty consistently. I feel like both of those guys, if they put up 25 points a game, I really do think, there's a shot for the Clippers winning the series. But then you have the Mavericks on the other end. You have Luka Doncic, who's also in the MVP conversation. You have Kyrie Irving, who's been doing pretty good. I think he's been putting up close to 20 points a game as well. So I think the series is going to be super good. Two really highly offensive-based teams here. I think this series will probably go to a 6, potentially even a 7-game series. But I am going to go with the Dallas Mavericks edging out the Clippers in a very close, tight series. I just think the Mavericks are just the better team. I mean, you really can't say the better team because the Clippers are the better team in terms of record-wise, but the record doesn't necessarily matter in the playoffs. I just think Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, I feel like Luka's magic is definitely going to come up big in this series. I'm just going to go with the Mavericks in a very close 6 to 7 game series. Next up, we have the number 3 seeded Timberwolves taking on the number 6 seeded Suns. The Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, very strong defensive-based team. Timberwolves probably one of the best, strongest defensive teams in the league. Their offense is pretty dang good, especially when Anthony Edwards just goes off. I mean, Edwards, he's not a great shooter. He's just a great scorer. You have Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns. You have Towns, who's a very good three-point shooter, but really can't do anything else. And you have Rudy Gobert, who's decent when it comes to like in the paint shots, but he's not a very big reliable source on this Timberwolves team. While the Suns, on the other hand, you got Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. You have three amazing offensive guys, and you also have some length on the defensive side of things as well. And I feel like in a 7-game series, I mean, if this was a 1-game series, I would definitely go with Timberwolves. But since this is a 7-game series, I think the Suns can win probably about 6 games. So I'm going to go with the Suns. I think the Suns are just the better team in terms of players, in terms of like longevity and experience, and just overall like skill set. I think the Suns can take care of business in about a 6-game series over the Timberwolves here. Next up, we have the Denver Nuggets taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. You do have the Lakers with LeBron James, but he's definitely getting a bit older. He's still averaging 25 points a game this late into his career. And the Lakers, yes, I hate to say it because, everyone wants the Lakers to at least make it to the conference finals because they want to see LeBron James rise back up top. But I generally just got to go with the Nuggets. You have Nikola Jokic, who's been having an amazing season. And there's the Nuggets. They're a really good playoff-based team. I mean, the fact that they won the NBA Finals last year, you really got to give them some props. I mean, I don't think the NBA Finals winners, I don't think they're going to lose in the first round to a old Lakers team. And I feel like in a 7-game series, I feel like Nuggets can get this in about 5-6 games. So I'm going to go with the Nuggets there. In the Eastern Conference, you do have the Celtics taking on the Miami Heat. I gotta go with the Celtics. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I mean, the Heat, yes, they're a very good team. Jimmy Butler, he did not play in the playing game yesterday, which definitely is scaring me a little bit because I don't know how well Jimmy Butler will play in this series against the Boston Celtics. But the Heat, they did do pretty good without Jimmy Butler, but I don't know how they're gonna do against the number 1 seed Boston Celtics with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all firing through cylinders. And the Boston Celtics, they have the best record in the whole entire league. So everything runs through Boston, even if they make the finals, because they have the best record in the whole entire league. And so Boston definitely one of the biggest threats, and I just definitely think they could beat the Heat in a potential sweep to 5 games. Next up, we have the number 4 seeded Cavs taking on the number 5 seeded Magic. Here, I'm going to go with the Cavaliers. The Magic, they're not a very great scoring team. They're also a very young team with Paolo Banchero probably being like the only main asset on the Magic team. And you really can rely on Paolo Banchero to carry through all 7 games, potential 7 games, against a Cavaliers team has a little bit more threats. You have Donovan Mitchell, you have Jared Allen. I just feel like the Cavaliers just have, more of a heavier asset than the Orlando Magic. I feel like the Magic could probably take 2 games in this series, but I feel like in 7 games, I feel like the Cavs can overall take over the Magic. Next up, we do have the number 3 seed Milwaukee Bucks taking on the 6 seed Indiana Pacers. I am going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. I kind of went back and forth before recording this video on who I was going to go with between the Bucks and Pacers, but I went with the Bucks just because I feel like Giannis, he has been a little bit banged up and he hasn't been playing up to par as what people want him to, but I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks, I feel like this series will probably go to 7 games, probably the only series that will go to 7 games in the Eastern Conference in the first round. I feel like Tyrese Halliburton and, Damian Lillard, I feel like they're going to go, at it from the 3-point line. I feel like Giannis, I feel like he's going to have to put like 30 points a game if they want to win the series. But I just think, I just can't let the Bucks go out in the first round. Last year, the Bucks kind of got shut out in the first round, and that was kind of sad to see. I don't think the Bucks are going to do that again back-to-back years, so I'm just going to go with the Bucks in about 7 games to beat the Pacers. And yes, I don't necessarily trust Doc Rivers, the head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks, but yet again, I got to go with the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks are going to go out sad back-to-back season. I think they will be able to beat the Pacers 7 games, but who knows? It's all going to come down to how well Giannis performs. I mean, if he puts up like high 20s, 30 points a game, I feel like they can do good with Lillard, knocking down 20 points. I feel like the Bucks, they have a shot. They're going to have to play some amazing basketball. And next up, we have the number 2 Knicks taking on the number 7 76ers. I am going to go with the 76ers for the major upset. I don't really go for big 7v2 upsets. But for here, I am going to go with the 76ers because the Knicks, I don't know. I don't really trust the Knicks that much. Like, yes, they're the number 2 seed. They're a very good basketball team. But like, if you really look at the roster, the Knicks, they don't really got like any scary big assets. Like, yes, you do got Jaylen Brown, you got Randall, and then you have Tom Thibodeau, who's a very good coach. But like, if you compare rosters, I just favor 76ers so much more. You have Joel Embiid, trust the process, who won MVP last year. He's been having a relatively good season, especially in the playing game against the Miami Heat. Tyrese Maxey, who got his first All-Star appearance this year. He's having a great time. And I feel like the 76ers, if they play amazing basketball, they have a shot to win the series. I mean, 76ers at their peak, they can be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And before the season ended, they were like on an 8-game win streak. And so for that, I feel like that's definitely going to factor into the playoffs here. And I feel like it's going to be like a 6-game series, 5-game series. But I think the Sixers can definitely beat the Knicks. They're just going to have to play some good basketball. They don't have to play amazing basketball. They just have to play some good basketball against a Knicks team that's kind of I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Knicks beat the 76ers, but I just feel more confident going with the 76ers over the New York Knicks. Back to the Western Conference. This is where it gets kind of scary. You have Thunder and the Mavericks, the 1v5 matchup. Here, I am going to go with the Thunder. I kind of hate to say it because a lot of people actually have Luka Doncic going to the conference finals or even the NBA finals, but I think the Thunder, they have more diversity on their team. Like, over the Mavericks, you have Kyrie and Luka. Those are like two main guys, and if one of those players doesn't have a good game, then the Mavericks, they're not going to do good. For the Thunder, you have 3 or 4 guys. You have Giddey, Holmgren, and then you have Shea. If one of those players don't do good, you still have 2 players doing phenomenal, right? If all 3 do well, Thunder are going to shut out the Mavericks. If 2 doesn't do well, then you're going to have some problems. But I don't see 2 of those 3 players doing bad in any of the games in the series. I think the Thunder will be able to take care of business. I feel like this could easily be a 7-game series, or it'll more likely probably be like a 6-game series. But I'm going to go the Thunder taking care of business. And then we have Suns and Nuggets. I am going to go with the Denver Nuggets, probably in about a 6-game series there for a 1-2 Thunder Nuggets matchup. And then over on this side, we have Celtics Cavs. I'm just going to give it a short sweep. I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics. Could be a sweep, honestly. And then we have Bucks and 76. I'm actually going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers as the 7th seed to make it to the conference finals. And then here we are in the conference finals. We have Thunder, Nuggets. I am going to go the Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics for a Nuggets-Celtics NBA finals. And then for here, I'm actually going to go with the Boston Celtics to win this year to kind of get their revenge. And how many points? I'm going to go Finals MVP. I'm going to assume that Jason Tatum will win the Finals MVP. If you take a look, they might sweep. So if Tatum averages 25 points a game, you times that by 4, that's 100 points in the first series. And then 5 games there, sure, plus, I feel like I'm just going to put like 410 points. I'm going to say Tatum gets about 410 points in the whole entire playoffs this year. So there you guys have it. That right there is my NBA playoff challenge. Comment down below any changes or if you agree or disagree with this year's bracket. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.